All right, this is one of my favorite pieces of content to teach, and the reason being is because I've taught this on so many stages, on so many different platforms, and I've always seen the impact that it has in people's lives and in their businesses immediately, because it helps simplify down what I call the 3 pillars of monetizing content. And I'm guessing that in addition to wanting to build a world-class personal brand at the pro level, you probably also invested in this program, which I honor and respect you and thank you for doing, by the way. I also think that you probably want to know, how do you monetize content online? And so this will probably be one of the most beneficial trainings that you have in this program. And again, if you have any questions at all, go to the Facebook community and message me, message our team, message everybody in there, and we'll answer any questions you have about this, because a lot of the times what I see is, whether I'm presenting this on stage or whenever somebody sees this, they always have a lot of questions. So I understand if you have a lot of questions, because I can't answer your questions right now through this video. I can only do my best to try to give you as much content as possible, and then you and the community which we provide to you on Facebook can go in the private group and can ask questions to us. Or if you want to keep it simple, just email us at support@shortenthegap, support@shortenthegap.com, and we'll be happy to answer any questions and support you. But let's dive in on one of my favorite pieces of content, and I think it will probably be yours as well by the time we finish. Let's go. Here's what we're looking at here. And by the way, don't worry, I can already hear some of you out there, I can't read the small words. Don't worry, I'll make sure that our amazing team of videographers, we got John behind the camera right now, I'll make sure he pops up some of the words that I'm saying on here so you can read it. But also, to keep it simple, there's going to be a link somewhere down here where you can access the infograph of this. Looks a lot prettier than my handwriting, and it's very easy and crystal clear for you to be able to read and see all of this. So don't worry what you can and can't read right now, because it's going to be accessible through the downloadable PDF infograph, as well as having some of the words pop up. Let's dive in. These are the 3 pillars of monetizing content as I see it. Pillar 1 is these little C's represent content, and it just says C1, C2, C3, C4. To keeping it simple, this is content piece 1, content piece 2. And by the way, this should go all the way down to content 1 million, because you should always be testing, ABT, like ABC, always be closing, always be testing new pieces of content in front of new audiences with new advertisements. And so ultimately, we've got content, then we've got our audience, A1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what this is you're always testing new pieces of content in front of new refined versions of your audience, just to see what resonates most. Then as we come over here, you have ad 1, ad 2, ad 3, ad 4, because what we want to do here is we also want to test new advertisements, because we're always going to be testing content, audiences, and advertisements. Now, how does this all relate to you? Well, if you want to monetize content online, then to keep it super simple, what you need to be doing is what we call content audience inception. And what that really means is this fancy way of saying we use content to incept in front of different audiences to see where we get the most engagement and awareness down here. When we're running content in front of audiences, we're looking for awareness and engagement metrics, which we'll get to over here. But awareness and engagement is all we're trying to build with content audience inception. Again, content audience inception, we're looking for awareness and engagement, and we'll talk about those metrics in a little bit. So when we use content to incept an audience, what that really means is this. Facebook rewards you, the algorithm of Facebook rewards you for putting great pieces of content that are natively uploaded in Facebook, which is a fancy word. I used to be like, what the heck, what does natively uploaded mean? Here's what it means. Natively uploaded means that I uploaded an MOV movie file or MP4 movie file into Facebook, or I uploaded a picture into Facebook, or I wrote words in Facebook. There's no link taking somebody to an article or taking them to a YouTube video or taking them anywhere out of Facebook. Natively in Facebook means it's part of Facebook. And guess what? Facebook's algorithm, all it wants to do is try to figure out what content is getting the most awareness and engagement, and then what it does is it promotes it and it pushes it for free in front of more people. Well, why would it do that? Because Facebook's algorithm's job is to keep you and me on Facebook as long as humanly possible. Because the longer we stay on Facebook, the more advertisers can market to us, the more money Facebook makes, the more valuable their platform is. You get the point. So the goal here with content audience inception is not only to get high levels of awareness and engagement, but it's also because Facebook rewards you. The algorithm of Facebook rewards you for putting great pieces of content in front of audiences that get lots and lots of awareness and engagement. And let's just jump over here to the metrics. So the metrics we look for when putting content, which we're going to talk about how you pay, come up with budgets for just $1, by the way, don't freak out, $1 on each piece of content, putting it in front of target audiences, looking at these metrics here to find out, is this a piece of content that I should spend more than $1 a day on? Should I spend $100 a day, a week, a month? How do I know? These are the metrics that let you know when I put $1 on this piece of content in front of this audience, I can go down here and look at the awareness and engagement metrics, which are total reach. So let's just say I put $1 on this piece of content and I put it in front of one of these audiences. So to keep it simple, to give you an actual example, I put one of my interviews from somebody interviewed me, or I interviewed somebody maybe on my show, Business Rockstars, and I put this video interview in front of an audience. Maybe the audience was the person that I interviewed, like I interviewed a celebrity or a billionaire, or a millionaire, a thought leader. Obviously, the first thing I'd want to do is put that interview in front of their audience, because it would have the highest level of awareness and engagement, we would presume and think. And usually it would, based on my experience. But let's just say, for example, you're like, Mark, I don't have that. Great. Maybe it's just a video of you doing a selfie video or doing a training like this, and you put $1 on it in front of an audience that you think would probably be the best fit. And we'll talk about how to know where to spend money in front of what audiences in a little bit. But to keep it simple, you put $1 on this piece of content, a video, a training, a blog article, a picture, anything, and you put it in front of an audience. Well, how do I know if I should keep spending more than $1 a day on it, or money at all after I've tested it? Here's how. How much was the total reach, meaning how many total people did you reach for that $1 or $10 or $50 or $100? In addition, how many views per impression did you get? We like to look for about 30% or more views per impressions, which means that when you look at the video, underneath it, it tells you how many actual video views you got. And then at the bottom, it'll say, here's how many organic views you got, here's how many paid views you got, and here's the total, it's actually impressions. So when I say views per impressions, you'll look under the video, it says like 10,000 views. And then if you look below that, you'll see like orange, yellowish kind of bars that say organic reach or impressions, paid reach or impressions, and total reach or impressions. So total reach is 1, the organic plus the paid reach. Then views per impressions or reach, we want to know how many video views did we get in proportion to the total amount of views or of impressions and reach. So basically, to keep it simple, we'll plug in some screenshots here that highlight and show you organic reach, paid reach, total reach, video views, so you can understand this. Some of you might be like, thank God I need that screenshot. And some of you might be like, okay, I already get this. It's good to know that 30% view per impression is what we're looking for. Now, the reason why and what that really means is ultimately that 30% or 1 out of every 3 people scrolling down their newsfeed on Facebook stops and at least watches 3 seconds or more of your video. That's what's going to count as a view. And so if you get 30% view per impressions, that means that 30% of the people scrolling on their newsfeed stopped, viewed your video for 3 seconds or longer. That's what we want, is we want about 1/3 or 30% of the people to stop and watch your stuff. That means we have a good content to consumer or content to audience match, or a message to market match. What we're trying to dial in here is the best piece of content in front of the best audience that gets the highest level of awareness and engagement for the lowest amount of ad spend. I could put this video in front of people that are 65 years or older that are interested in Oprah Winfrey. And it would probably have very low levels of awareness and engagement because it's the right piece of content in front of the wrong audience. So what we're doing here with these 2 columns is testing the right content in front of the right audience to figure out, well, how do we know if it's the right content in front of the right audience? Well, we would look at the awareness and engagement metrics, total reach, views per impressions, which we talked about. The next one is the average watch time. The third one is the average watch time. Now, on your business manager page, so on your Facebook page, by the way, let's just set the foundation here. You don't do this on your Facebook profile where you get friend requests. You do this on your Facebook page, which if you don't know how to set up a Facebook page, we'll plug something in on here that'll tell you how to do that, or go look it up on the Facebook Help Center or a YouTube video or Google. It's super simple. Hopefully you already have a Facebook page that's either your personal brand or your business's, but that's where you're going to be uploading the content to then put and boost, is what it's called, a boost. You boost it in front of an audience. And we'll talk about saved audiences in a little bit and how to figure out how to do your targeting here. But again, average watch time is accessible by going into your Facebook page, going in the top left, clicking Business Page Manager or Business Manager or Ads Manager. There's different names if you're on your phone or if you're on your computer. And then look at the Business Manager and look on there and click all the different pieces of content you can see uploaded in there. And you can click each one, this video, this picture, and you can see, I guess a picture wouldn't have an average watch time, but you can see the video's average watch time, meaning I can see how long somebody watched my video. Let's say, for example, you upload a 5-minute video. Well, what if the average watch time is 10 seconds? Which, by the way, would be pretty good considering the average watch time on Facebook's videos across the whole platform. All the videos put together, the average watch time is only 6 seconds. 6 seconds is the average watch time on a Facebook video. So if you uploaded a 5-minute video, a 3-minute video, a 2-minute video, and the average watch time was 12 seconds, you're 200% better than the average watch time of all the videos on Facebook. So the real goal here is figuring out, how do we put a great piece of content in front of a great audience that's so good that we get a higher total reach for the same dollar, a higher view per impression for the same dollar, meaning some of my content, 90%, 9 out of 10 people scrolling on Facebook stop and watch some of our stuff. That's incredible. That's why you test all of this to figure out how you can have the right piece of content in front of the right audience so that $1 reaches this many more people than $1 reaching this many people. And the way you find that out is by testing $1 a day on a piece of content in front of an audience. And by the way, how do you know you're budgeting? Here's what we like to do for budgeting. I'll do it in red because it might be easier for you to see. When you're trying to figure out how to do a budget to put a content in front of an audience, and we'll get down to these metrics here, I didn't forget. We're going to typically do $20 for 3, 5, or 7 days. I'll say that again. We're typically going to have a budget of $20 for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days for each piece of content to the audience. So let's say I put 20 bucks on this piece of content right here, and then I put it in front of an audience that I think would resonate most with this content. Boom, I put it in front of this one. And let's just say that I look down here at the awareness and engagement, I look at the total reach, the views per impressions, the average watch time, the relevancy score. You can go on Facebook Ads Manager, Business Ads Manager, and you can look and see the relevancy score of your piece of content. Relevancy score means it's the rank that the algorithm is giving you to tell you how relevant your content is for the audience. The higher the relevancy score, the better. And you can go on there and look and see more about relevancy scores to figure out what's a good relevancy score, how do I know what it should be. But ultimately, you want a higher relevancy score that's 3, 5, 6. A lot of the times you get a relevancy score of like a 1 or less. You want to get the higher the relevancy score, the better. You want a 5 or a 6 or a 7 relevancy score, which would be incredible. And so again, 20 bucks, 3, 5, 7 days on a piece of content in front of an audience. But guess what? That same piece of content for 20 bucks, you should probably run to another audience with another 20 bucks. So now we put 20 bucks, 3, 5, 7 days. So now I put 20 bucks on this piece of content for this audience, another 20 bucks on this piece of content for this audience, which by the way, you can put 20 bucks on this video with this audience, and then you can just add another 20 bucks on the same video, not uploading another one, but you can let the awareness and engagement of the likes, comments, shares, and views stack And so I put 20 bucks for 3, 5, 7 days on this piece of content video to this audience. And then after the 3 days or the 5 days or the 7 days, my 20 bucks is gone. I look at my metrics, my awareness and my engagement, and then I go, hey, let's leave that same video with the same metrics and likes, comments, and shares and engagement and awareness that I already got. And then I'm just going to change the audience on the same piece of content. So for example, let's say this video for 20 bucks got 10 likes, 10 comments, and 10 shares, and 1,000 views. Totally not gonna happen in that order, but you get the point. Then I can leave those likes, comments, shares, and views, and then go into edit boost. So boost is over, I can edit the boost, and then I simply will either change the budget to the same audience, or I'll change the audience and change the budget. So now I'll leave this with the likes, comments, and shares and views, and I'll simply change the audience to this audience, put another 20 bucks on it, and then I'll look and see the awareness and engagement. And what you'll notice is that one of these audiences will give you better metrics. It'll give you better reach, better views per impressions, better average watch time, a better relevancy score. And the last one, organic versus paid. How much organic reach did you get versus paid reach? Typically, we like to find a good balance of either 30% organic to paid, meaning that your content is so good that people are sharing it and you're getting organic reach, free eyeballs. Because if you've ever shared something, you then put that piece of content in front of your friends and family and colleagues and partners for free, and that person got all of your friends' eyeballs or whoever saw it for free. So ideally what we're doing here is if I put a great video online in front of an audience and they love it, they're sharing it like crazy, guess what? My organic versus paid, I'm gonna have a higher organic ratio to paid ratio, meaning if I spend 20 bucks and reach 1,000 people and I get 500 organic views, that means I did a really good job. That means they basically gave me 10 bucks for free worth of views. So at scale, this is really exciting because if you spend $1,000 on a piece of content to an audience and it gets lots of engagement, you could be getting tons of organic free views because lots of people are engaging with the content. So the likes, comments, and shares are promoting this to their friends because you get to see what your friends like, comment, and share. And then it's increasing the organic versus paid reach, which is really exciting because that's how things go viral. You boost it, you boost the content to people, and then they get high levels of awareness and engagement, and they start to like, comment, and share, and that gives you lots of organic reach. So maybe you spend $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 to put it in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people, and then it goes viral because everybody starts sharing it. So that's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to find pieces of content that give us the most reach for the least amount of money, or the most cost-effective, cost-efficient piece of content for the audience, because the awareness and engagement and the metrics are giving us a bigger reach for less money. And so Facebook's not going to reward you to put bad content in front of people that are like, I'm not gonna like this or comment or share. I don't even like this. Facebook goes, oh, 10,000 people have seen this piece of content and it's not getting a high level of awareness and engagement. Let's squish it so that it doesn't go far, because no one is engaging with this content. So the key here is the right content in front of the right audience is gonna give you a higher relevancy score on all these metrics that Facebook says, thank you for putting good content on our platform and keeping people on here. We're gonna reward you, and it pushes it in front of more people, especially since the content doesn't take people off of Facebook. So I hope that helps. Another thing is, we usually do 20 bucks for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, or I do 50 bucks for 7 to 10 days, or I'll do 100 bucks for 7 to 14 days. These are just numbers that I have just because it keeps it simple in my head. I don't have to think or get all crazy about it. You can pick whatever amount of money or however many days you want. I like to keep it simple, and people are always like, Mark, how much should you spend? So these are the numbers I recommend as a test for your content to your audience. So when you're creating budgets around a content audience inception strategy, this is what I recommend. You come up with however many pieces of content, articles, interviews, podcasts, video trainings, PDFs, checklists, swipe files, ebooks, webinars, whatever it is that your content is, for free, you just want to put in front of audiences, come up with a budget. I recommend $20 for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days, or $50 for 7 to 10 days, or $100 for 7 to 14 days. You can pick any amount of money and any duration of time. This is just what I recommend as a good starting point for you to start testing on each individual piece of content. Now, why would you spend money on content that doesn't lead directly to your bottom line sales? I'm asked this question all the time. Mark, why would I allocate a budget of anything, let alone thousands of dollars a month or more, to reach millions of people, by the way? Just having a budget of about $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 will usually reach about 1 million people. How insane is that? $3,000, $5,000 to $10,000 will reach about 1 million people. So if you're willing to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 a month, you'll be reaching about 1 million people a month. How crazy is that? With content, by the way, not with ads, because they reward you for great content. Again, the reason why I say 3, 5 to 10 is because we've had some content that for $3,000 reaches 1 million people, some content for $10,000 reaches 1 million people, all together or individually. That's just how it works. Some pieces of content for $1 go way further in front of the right audience than another, because the content is a better content to audience match, content to consumer match. And so these metrics validate that we should spend more money because it's going to go further. But again, just $3,000, $5,000 to $10,000 will get you 1 million people on average with your content. But again, to answer the question, why would I spend money on content that doesn't lead to any sales, doesn't have any call to action for giving us money or buying our products? Here's why. It costs way more money to put an advertisement in front of an audience. The same, let's just say for example, the same $100 I spend right here on this advertisement to this audience, $100 over here for this advertisement that takes people off of Facebook to a landing page for their email, or to give it to buy a product or service, or to get into my funnel, or to download my thing, or to join my webinar. $100 on this advertisement to this audience versus $100 here to the same piece of content to the same audience. This will probably get me, $100 will probably get me about 10,000 views. Over here, $100 on an advertisement that has a link taking them off of Facebook to give me their email or for whatever. That same $100 to the same audience might get me a couple thousand views, maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000. It's unlikely though. $100 is probably going to get you 1,000 views, maybe 2,000. So we're getting about a 500% to 1,000% or more reach for our content money than we are for our ad budget money. Again, I'll say that again. $100 over here on this piece of content to this audience will get us about 10,000 views, but $100 on an advertisement that takes them off of Facebook to the same audience will get us about 1,000 to 2,000 views. That's a 500% to 1,000% extra reach of eyeballs for the same amount of money. Now, why would that happen? Well, like I said, Facebook's algorithm says, we know you're trying to take people off of our platform and bring them over to your platform to get their email and sell them something, and they kind of go, and they slap you for that. And unless you are a ninja and you really, really, really know what you're doing over here with advertisements, which by the way, we're gonna have some extra bonus Facebook training from some of the top guys in the world who have spent over $1 billion on Facebook ads. We're gonna have some of them give you some free bonus training. So go to the bonus section of this program and watch some of the bonus training modules on Facebook marketing. These guys are gonna tell you more about this and how to really dial in your Facebook ads over here. But more importantly, you're probably not a Facebook expert. You probably don't have the budget to allocate tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to great world-class Facebook experts. So again, the reason why this is so important for you is because you probably only have a starting budget of a couple $100 a week or a month, or maybe a couple $1,000 a month. And so if you spend a couple $1,000 on ads over here, you're probably gonna fail. So if you spend a couple $100 or $1,000 over here, you can start to build massive amounts of awareness. Again, if you go, Mark, my budget's only $1,000 or $3,000, you can be reaching hundreds of thousands of people for that budget over here with your content, so that you're what? You're warming up the audience to know you, like you, and trust you. So when you do put advertisements in front of them, regardless of how good your sales pitch is or your marketing or your funnels and all this stuff, they're going to already know you, like you, and trust you. I recommend picking an audience of about, and again, you're testing lots of audiences, but ultimately finding out, what you're looking for is you want to put this piece of content in front of this audience, this piece of content in front of this audience, then this didn't work very well, so then I put it in front of this audience and this audience, and you test all these pieces of content. The same piece could be in front of all these audiences. Ultimately, what you do though is you go, this piece of content sucked, gone. This piece of content worked really well, not so much in front of them, way better in front of this audience. So this audience is a winner. Ultimately, I can go, this content sucked, this content sucked, this content sucked, this content sucked, this was a winner, this was a winner, and ultimately this audience sucked, but what we found out was this audience was really good and this audience was really good. So guess what? From putting all of our content and spending hundreds, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on all these content in front of all these people, what we found is that certain pieces of content, like maybe an interview or a short video training, or when we give away our personal branding board, or when we give away resources checklist, or the top 50 headlines, whatever it is that you do, the 7 diets that you want to try, or the 13 things to avoid buying in the grocery store to lose weight and get in better shape, whatever your thing is that you sell. I've got another client in the healthcare industry. He gives away different things about, how to lower your healthcare bills and how to have better conversations with your shareholders and with HR and with brokers and what to avoid when hiring consultants in healthcare and how to increase your EBITDA every quarter for your shareholders and crazy stuff like that. And he gives away free trainings on this. So again, you're testing content, you're testing it in front of audiences to ultimately find the best types of content to put in front of the best audiences that resonate most. We've been doing this, so we know that the best types of content for us resonate most with these audience groups. So now the guesswork is done. When I upload new pieces of content, I already know what audiences to put it in front of because I've done the hard work. I know that Tony Robbins and Jack Canfield and Les Brown and other guys that are older, their audience doesn't resonate with my stuff as well as Ty Lopez, Lewis Howes, Grant Cardone, and Gary Vaynerchuk. Why? Because their audiences are younger, 18 to 35 years old, the majority of their audiences are. And I know that their audience resonates with me for obvious reasons. I'm more similar to their age group. So I've tested Tony Robbins and Les Brown and John Asseroff and Jack Canfield and all the older guys. Their audience doesn't resonate with me as much. But I did find that other audiences like Lewis and Gary and Grant and Ty, their audience eats my stuff up. Maybe you're even following their audience and maybe that's how you saw my ads. I don't know. The point is, I'm still always testing new pieces of content in front of new audiences, but I really have dialed in what audiences consume my content most based on these metrics. Again, it always goes back to the metrics. You spend the money on a piece of content, boosting it in front of an audience to figure out what gives you the highest level of awareness and engagement based on these metrics over here. Again, look at the infographic if you need a refresher. It's all testing. So the whole reason you're doing this content and audience inception is to figure out what audience engages most with my content so that you can figure out what you should create for your advertisements to then give them deeper dive versions of your content over here because they go, I've already seen Mark's interviews and his videos and his speaker reels and his et cetera, articles of him featured in Forbes and Inc. and Entrepreneur. I put all these pieces of content in front of audiences. I found out which audiences resonate most with me. And now I know that not only are millions and millions of people from the content side seeing my stuff, but when I do put an advertisement in front of them, they're that much more willing to buy my stuff because they go, I've been seeing all of Mark's content on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Specifically, we're honing in here on the 3 pillars of monetizing content using Facebook, by the way, but this works everywhere. But ultimately, you have your content, you boost it on Facebook to different audiences, find out what audience resonates most with your content, create more of that content, put it in front of that audience, do it all day, every day, Put $1,000 on a piece of content and put it for a year. Set it and forget it. You can literally put $3 a day for the rest of your life on a piece of content. And then ultimately, the reason you're doing this is because you're building an audience of people for way cheaper to see your content, know you, like you, trust you. So when you do start to monetize content by putting advertisements in front of them, then and only then will the people go, hey, I'm not seeing you for the first time ever trying to be sold. My first impression of you isn't you trying to tactfully, strategically, elegantly, and artfully sell me on something, or even provide me a webinar or a video training, which we all know is just a tactful way of selling me. The first time I see you shouldn't be offering me to sell me something. It should just be you giving me something of value without giving you my email. That's the key. Content over here is just value added. It's called ungated. Ungated, there's no gate. You don't have to give me your email to get in, to get the content. It's completely for free. You could be scrolling around in your newsfeed and you just watch the video. There's no link. You don't have to do anything. Just enjoy my video, enjoy the content, enjoy the training, enjoy the PDF, enjoy the infograph, enjoy the interview, whatever it is, enjoy the article. You don't have to give me your email. And this audience goes, I really like that guy. He has such great content. And then they see my face because they recognize it, because for pennies on the dollar, I'm able to put content in front of them and they go, wow, hundreds of thousands of views on a video. This guy must be credible and legit. Thousands of likes and comments and shares. He must be legit. So really, really cheap, cost efficiently, you can be getting tons of awareness and engagement with an audience of people, so that this audience has so much rapport with you that now they go into your advertisement funnel and they buy. Okay, so a couple more things we need to focus on here is when you're running advertisements to the audience that you've spent the time, energy, and money to put great pieces of content that you're testing to different audiences to figure out which pieces of content resonate most with an audience. So you know these pieces of content resonate most with this audience. This is the audience I'm going to start running more of my content to, and these specific types of content, video specifically, 60 seconds approximately. And then when you run your ads to that audience that's already warmed up, we recommend having an audience of about 100,000 to 200,000 people. It's a lot of people. 100,000 to 200,000 people that you can just dominate. For $1,000, you should be able to reach with content. $1,000, you should be able to reach 100 to 200,000 views, so that you can just destroy an audience. They'll literally be like, oh my God, all right, I've seen so much of your stuff. I know you. That's a good thing. Like Tai Lopez, everyone knows the guy. He's everywhere because he spends millions a month. So when you run ads to that audience, they're like, oh, here's his content. Here's his advertisements. Here's a piece of value that we can get from him if we give him his email to watch his webinar, his video series. So again, content to the audience. When you run ads over here, we already talked about, by the way, when you run content to the audience, you're looking for the awareness and engagement metrics. When you're running advertisements, so you come up with your budget, you have a different budget, X, Y, Z. You have all these different budgets for different pieces of ads that are now running to that audience of 100 to 200,000 people or more that you're just dominating. Your content's putting in front of them, your ads are putting in front of them. They can't get away from you. As soon as they go on Facebook and they scroll on their newsfeed, they see your content, they see your ads, and they're like, all right, fine, 16 impressions later, I'm gonna buy something, right? So what we're looking for in the metrics over here is conversion and profit. Content in an audience is awareness and engagement metrics. Advertising and audiences, we're looking for conversions and profit. Those metrics are simple. Again, download the infograph of this to really see it. Otherwise, some words will pop up what I'm saying here, because if you can't see this. The metrics we look for conversions and profit are simple. Cost per click, CPC, click-through rate. So cost per click, by the way, is how much does it cost you for somebody to click through to your advertisement? How much does so cost per click is how much does it cost for somebody to click? Then it's the click-through rate. What percentage of people that saw it clicked it and went through? Then we do cost per action. How much did it cost for each individual to actually take action on clicking it and opting in? And then we have the frequency. What was the frequency, which again you can see in Business Ads Manager. You can go and click on each individual ad and see all of these metrics. What was the frequency at which people continued to see it? You want to have a higher frequency, meaning you want these people, whoever your target audience is that you've tested, you want them to see your advertisements 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, because on average it's going to take 5, 10, 20 times before they actually take action. And so you want to have a high frequency score. You can see it says 1.7, 2.5, 7.8. That's how many times the average person saw it. Then what's your return on ad spend? You spent this much money, how much did you make? And then we look at total conversions. So I spent this much money on this advertisement to this audience. I spent this much money to this advertisement to this audience. Great. What was the total conversions? I spent this much money. How many people converted? How many people opted in? How many people purchased? Again, look at those metrics to validate if you should continue spending money on the advertisement. And what you do is you realize this advertisement sucked, this advertisement sucked, this advertisement sucked. How do I know it sucked? I look down here at all these metrics we just talked about of these different points that you validate. Did we get the metrics that validate if we should keep spending money over here? Now you may be wondering, how do I know what a good CPC, cost per click or click-through rate or cost per action is? Those are tough answers, tough questions to answer because it varies depending on your product, service, offer, niche, budget, frequency, time, customer acquisition cost. This is a question that you can either email us at support@shortenthegap or go on Facebook. Again, this was just a framework. If you guys have questions, I'm sure you have a ton, then what we do is we have another video training on specifically how to boost content and how to run ads. Go to the bonus trainings for the ads and go to the content about boosting content to audiences to figure out more about this. This was just an overview.